There's also the built-in primitives that make things easy-ish and more efficient to aggregate things inside of the kernel before you have to push them to user space, right? I'm talking about like maps and counters and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's like the initial implementation of eBPF that was very bare bones. And over the 10 years since eBPF was first merged into the kernel, the community has added a lot of the things to make it easier to program what's happening with eBPF. One of the things is the eBPF maps. And so this allows us to efficiently share memory between user space and kernel space. So programs can share information across this boundary. Another example is like expanding the instruction set limit. So originally you were only able to have 4K instructions, and now the instruction limit has been lifted to 1 million. And you're also able to tail multiple eBPF programs together. So essentially going from one to the next. I think that's the exciting thing about eBPF is it's continuing to innovate and add these ways to make it easier to program and do what you want to. I think there's this idea that eBPF is this very limited thing because originally when it was designed, they didn't want to break the kernel. And so it had the limited instruction set. There wasn't like the maps. You couldn't tail multiple programs together. And there's like other limitations too. And bit by bit, they've taken off some of those limits and made it more flexible, more multi-purpose. And I think we've really seen the boundary of what's possible really expanded by eBPF. Actually, so Liz just released a blog post talking about how eBPF is now Turing complete. Not that's like the most important thing, but it's an interesting way of saying that, yes, it's a universal programming language. And the way that she shows that is she implements Conway's game of life in eBPF. And she does that by having weight and tailing multiple programs together. And it's showing that, yes, you can program essentially anything that you want to in eBPF. Not saying that anything should be programmed in eBPF. There's limitations. There's better ways to implement things, but it's possible to do multiple different things. So yes, technically you could port Doom into eBPF. Now, whether you actually want to do that or not is a different question.